Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of On Air with Fahim. Today, we're talking about something that's a very familiar problem in the Middle East, getting paid. So, this has been something that I've discussed at quite some lengths with a lot of the business owners, the accounting practices that we work with. And research shows that around 60% of B2B invoices are paid late in the UAE. This causes a huge issue with cash flow. And as we know, cash flow is the lifeblood of all SMEs and businesses. So today we're joined by Nupur Mittal, who founded a business called Octa. So what Octa really looks to do is solve that problem using complex integrations and making them simple so that you can get paid on time. So welcome, Nupur. Great to have you on. Give us a bit of an introduction to yourself.
Thank you so much, Fahim, for having me here. So as you said, yes, I'm the co-founder of Octa. We are the two founders who started this journey about 2 years back. I've been in Dubai for a while to understand this pain point of businesses, and that was one of the reasons that I wanted to jump into it, to rightly solve that. How can we actually make this cash flow problem go away, especially for SMEs in the region? So I think the idea was, how can we build that product for entire Middle East, where the problem which you rightly mentioned, to get paid on time, can be solved by automating their entire finance operations, whether it's AR or AP. That solves it.
Nice. And look, I'm obviously we've spoken before. I understand that you've got quite an extensive CV when it comes to this exact problem and the region. I think the way I kind of see you in the founder role is kind of like the good race car driver, like a Carroll Shelby um, when it comes to this exact problem. The reason I say that is because you're able to, in the example, you're able to build the car, drive the car, and you understand exactly how everything works. And when it comes to this particular problem in getting paid and accounts receivable, you're one of those people who kind of do it all. So look, you've got an extensive CV. Give us like a bit of background on how you actually ended up choosing this particular problem to fix.
Definitely. I think for him, when you talk about like that, it feels like, okay. I think for me, what I started my journey in this is what doing an engineering from IIT, and that gives me the foundation of what we are building right now, right? And then I end up doing a management course, which give me a business lens with. Working for BCG for a couple of years actually give me the function idea of how the finances work in a large corporates as well. So when you combine all these three things, you can start understanding where the friction lies and how that problem can be solved, right? And then my brief stint in Kareem, where I was actually building Kareem Pay, that also helped me understand the MENA region specific problem on payments. And what I realized before even starting Okta, that there were a lot of companies and even banks were solving the B2C payment pain point, but very few were actually focusing on how can we solve a B2B payment, where the invoice needs to be actually paid by a business because another SME is online to actually get their cash flow problem solved. So I think that gap was quite clear in the market. Businesses were spending too much time to chase payments instead of focusing on growth. And there was no purpose built solution for the region. That's where John, my co-founder, and I started talking about how can we actually build a solution which solves this problem. And if I have to talk for him, we were saying that what are we building towards the point? I think Okta itself is an AI-powered finance operations platform. The idea is that we can deploy agents to automate the entire contract to cash cycle as well as bills to payment cycle. So giving every finance team in the region to have that interface to actually get those data which they are lagging for and to chase every invoice for which they want the payment to be done. and reconcile it at automatically at that pace, so that finance function can actually run smoothly, which was always meant to be.
Yeah, and look, I think that the technology is definitely great, and the way it fits into the existing architecture that people might have when it comes to credit control, finance, get paid, tracking payments, all of these things um, are great. But then at the end of the day, this is a very human problem as well. Like we need to understand that there's a human element behind doing business and chasing payments and so on. So I think a lot of what Octa is able to do is eliminate the awkward conversations people might have to have about getting paid on time and kind of turn it into more of a more regular, like a notification that people might expect to receive when they know that money is owed to them, or when they owe money to another business. Um, in terms of the problem itself, give us a bit of an idea about what people are doing when they're not using a solution like Foxel. What's like the typical makeup of like an accounts receivable department, or how is it actually working without tech in place?
So I think today how people are actually using is that definitely they have their accounting software. As you know it well, Fahim, Zero is one of the popular accounting software being used in the region, right? They have their Zero accounting software. What they do is that once the invoices are raised, they download the report in Excel sheet and then start chasing the customer one by one from there, tracking every day, every week, what's the follow-up done, who replied, who didn't reply. And imagine when you have hundreds of this, right? It is very difficult to track that on a weekly basis. First of all, there'll be hundreds of emails going on. There'll be bounce of some emails happening, some data missing. So that Excel sheet, one Excel sheet becomes the core lifeline of the business to collect money. And on top of that, imagine if that finance team member leave the organization. Who holds it? Who knows what happened last month with the business? What happened a quarter back? So I think that whole process of having your data on Zero and then trying to use an Excel sheet as a hook to figure out how the collections can come, reconcile it on Excel sheet by the month end. You are also not sure how much has been collected, how much is being paid, how much is the dispute happening. Is a full process happening on the Excel sheets today. Right?
Yeah, and to be honest, in the age of AI and like all of the developments that are happening in this industry and the world in general, it doesn't make sense for everything to be managed, by a single person on a sheet that no one else really can manage. I know you work with quite a few well-known businesses. Give us an idea of who your types of customers are, like who can really make use out of Octa.
So I think we started the journey in 2024. So it's been 2 years for us, where some of the customers have been using it for more than a year now. I think some of the early customers I'll tell about was Lean Technologies and Kareem. They actually started the journey with us being a design partner. So when early stage of the product, we had limited offering is where they came in and they just started building with us. So the pain point and then solution, and there was every month testing. But they really saw the problem and they were like, okay, if you are building the solution, let's chip in and work towards it. I think finance teams spend a significant time on collections with poor visibility of what's happening on outstanding and reconciliation. What they saw then in the Octa core platform, which we have, was they started seeing immediately in a first and second month faster collections happening. And even the CFO had the real-time visibility of what the receivables look like. And for the team who's actually chasing it, there was a drastic decrease of 10 to 18 hours of manual work itself. So I think the AI agents, when personally starts handle the chasing, I think that becomes the key point for them also to figure out. And then having that real time visibility of the data and cash flow, they were able to make faster decision on where to consider the credit terms, where to actually consider a discount, where to actually send someone a more matured message to even just collect a limited amount of it. And then that all reconciles together to give you a real time, I will say, collection happening week on week. Was eye opener. They were not waiting for the month end to come. They could take action just on 10th of the month, 15th of the month, because they had the data. I think it was a very strong signal at that point, and we realized that okay, this is going to be huge for someone to actually get on board here.
Yeah, I hope so. And with the clients that we've spoken to about Octa, I think the application can pretty much apply to most businesses, especially in a market like the UAE. I'm not sure why this is, but people tend to kind of take invoices as something that, you know, happy to do that later, or it doesn't it doesn't always like end up high up on the
Yeah.
list of priorities for people. So definitely, it's a timely solution in the market. And I think the other clear thing is that if you're a business that's struggling with cash flow and you are heading towards any significant event as a business, whether it's getting more funding, whether it's making an exit, whatever it is, if you can show that your cash flow is healthy and you get paid on time, it will always make sure that your valuation is strong. So definitely, I would say that Octa is something that most businesses in the UAE can make use out of. Um, so I've seen the product grow. I've been familiar with it for almost 2 years now, I would say. And I've seen the expansion. I've seen the development in the product, and it is headed in such a great direction. I think you've got a lot of potential. You've expanded recently into Saudi Arabia as well. Tell us a bit about if there's any differences. We've got like things that are changing from a regulatory standpoint in the UAE, so it'd be good just to see what your experience of um, KSA has been.
Yeah, I think for him, still in Saudi Arabia, I think the core problem still remains the same of what we are having in UAE, right? There is also late payments, manual process, and the visibility gap, which I was mentioning, and a lot of manual work being done from the entire contract to cash cycle, right? The one key thing which is happening in UAE is same thing which process happened in Saudi a couple of years back was the e-invoicing, where Zatka compliant e-invoicing integration became mandatory. So today in that stage, it is much more streamlined because the phase one of that was completed. But if you see the culture of payment also has the same nuances. How you chase matters as much as whether you are chasing it to the right customer in English versus Arabic, how you're using the tone of language. So that varies a little bit in Saudi. Timing of the chasing also matters a lot, which we have seen that in the market. And then obviously there's a genuine concern which I have seen that people are paying late because they also are impacted with the trend of getting their payments. So I think that a lot of times people forget and when they are trying to collect the payment. So things which have worked well in Saudi is just extending a credit terms by few days have actually given them wonders to collect the full money rather than just trying to chase it and getting the money. So I think that has worked, but it's been immense, I will say, uh, requirement coming from Saudi to actually adopt the platform.
Interesting, because we've had a couple of opportunities come up across the GCC, to be fair, and I think you're completely right. The problems tend to be the same, and not just the GCC. To be honest, it's across the world. I think it's definitely got a very global application. This solution. So, look, I think we understand the problem very, very well. I think anyone can resonate with getting paid late and the issues that comes with. It'd be good to see the platform. So I'm gonna stop sharing my
Definitely.
screen. If you could jump in and show us exactly what you're building, that would be amazing.
Yes. Okay. So I think the whole idea here is this is the Octa platform, and I'll walk you through on the some of the interesting things which we have been discussing so far. That how does it actually work in helping businesses to streamline their entire AR and EP process here, specifically focusing on getting their invoices paid, right? One key thing I will start with that how does the platform actually has the data coming in, right? Because that is the key thing. You don't want to go every day and bulk upload the data or actually punch in the data. It has to be automatic when the system is doing. So one of the key thing what we do is that the integration layer, we make sure that all the integrations which are relevant for the finance stack that's available. So one of the key thing, yes, you have your invoices created in Zero, you have your bills posted in Zero, so that connection exists. Then similarly you will have some of the CRMs platform which you might be using from where the contracts needs to be come in, right, to create invoices. Then your payment gateway, which is the key thing of you actually getting the invoices paid. So we make sure that all payment gateway by default, we also give the payment gateway connection. So if any business doesn't have a payment gateway, they don't have to go through the hassle of getting a payment gateway connection. We directly give one of the connections out of the box itself. So there's bunch of tools which are coming, and similarly I'll just focus on the communication part because it becomes the key thing that they have to reach out on WhatsApp, email, call, Slack, on whatever way they can actually connect to their vendor. So that's the thing. Now, once the data comes in, the key thing for them is to go to the dashboard and see does that make sense. And one important thing what we have Fahim done over here is that every person in finance team wants to see a different thing as per their job, right? They can come here, build their own dashboard. So let's say if it's a CFO of the company and they are trying to build their own dashboard, they will be mostly focusing on financial health, DSO, collection rate, how much is the actual total collection happened, what is the trend looking, aging balance, something like billing cohorts. And if they collect and see, they can just see their own personalized dashboard. They don't care about any other thing because this is what they want to see every day, every week, and make sure that that's what's improving. But let's say if you as a accountant, or you are the one in the part of the finance team who's actually responsible of collecting the money, so you'll create your own dashboard, let's say collection dashboard, which you want to figure out that how much collection has been done. What your focus will be, top customers who haven't paid yet, what are the recent invoices which has been raised, what is the activity being done, what's the follow-up trend being done. So once you have, you'll definitely see, okay, these are the invoices raised, where are we actually focusing on, how much follow-ups being done. Just it's a demo platform, so only two follow-ups done. But the whole idea is that you get the full flexibility of making your dashboard, moving it around on how you feel at literally no cost, because you are coming and building it. So forget about the days where you give some requirement to someone and they build and then you come back. It's on the go, you build it. Now, one thing on top of that is once your Zero account is connected, you will see all the invoices flowing through, and similarly, all the customers' contact details flowing through, because you need it for follow-up, right? The thing what you can come here and do, Fahim, the point which you were raising, that how do we even make sure that we are chasing the right business with the right way? What's the collection strategy look like, right? That's where you come and build. And then on top of that, AI starts suggesting you the best collection method. So you can come here. One thing very, very well work in the region is that when you are adding any reminder workflow, to make sure that your invoices are reaching to your businesses, you can choose WhatsApp as well. Because WhatsApp is something where you will want your businesses to know that there is an invoice due, which they can know about it if they have missed the email. So basically, the idea is that you can send email, WhatsApp, SMSs, and call for them to actually figure out what way to do. And similarly, you can create multiple workflows because, see, we all know you will have a customer who just newly onboarded customer, right? You just started the business with them. You don't want to chase them every week and get the money done, right? They are still trying to build a relationship. You can just create a very simple workflow for them to send an email every 15 days or as per the due date, right? So you can define that only reach out to them after due date, because you'll be like before that they might end up already paying. So that's a very simple way. But you might have customers who have not paid you, for 120 days. Then you will do an aggressive workflow for them, and you can just simply make that aggressive workflow here, and you can just start making it that, okay, if it's been 120 days after due date, let me reach out through email plus WhatsApp, and I'll also send them the statement that these full invoices are pending. So that becomes very easy for them to actually consider. If I go back, I think, Fahim, one point you mentioned is that how can businesses also streamline their payments part of it. In every invoice which we have, right, you get the full history to see when was the draft sent, when is it, and you have the luxury to even copy the payment link if in case you just are in the conversation and they said, okay, can you send me the link quickly and I'll make the payment. So you can easily copy the payment link and also send it, which lot of SMEs actually require, and they don't know where to actually figure that out. That gives them the availability to actually just quickly send it across and get the money. So that's there. Now I will come to the magic part of it, is the true automation where the AI agent is actually going to work. In the automation part, if you see, we have some of the agents pre-built where you can go and say, I am actually looking for an agent which can help me collect money faster, which helps me get my invoices paid faster, right? We will have the follow-up agent for you. We will have the payment received. If you have received the payment, the confirmation agent for you, high value invoices alert if something is off from there. That's where you can come and actually use the agents off the hook, where you can see the full flow of how the agent is going to work, every section of it, that how is it going to be considered. This is off the shelf, you can get it, but the main part comes in is when you get the flexibility to actually build your own agent. So Fahim, I'll give you an example here. I think some of the very common things which people actually say, that I'll take one of the example. This is what I have heard and taking from my experience. When an invoice is disputed, just create a task to review. And also, they don't want to chase the customer because it's a disputed invoice. They just want to turn off the reminders for those invoices. It's a very simple case. You'll write it here in your way on how you want to create the workflow. And the system will automatically give you a confirmation. Give us maybe a few seconds. So it will give you a confirmation that what it is going to do. Just for the sake, I'm doing a very simple one. And then you can say, okay, I want to actually, it looks good, or you can actually give more commands to keep building on it. For this purposes, I'm just going to go ahead and say, okay, this looks good. When you come here, you can actually set up that, okay, this full workflow is already done. You can go ahead and also modify it. Like invoice disputed, do you want to consider all customers, or do you want to just consider very specific vendors? When the task is created, who do you actually want to assign to? Because someone in the team should take care of it, or it is you yourself. So all those further customization, you can go ahead and create it and also view it in different modes. But this gives you a real power of actually building something which can be very, I will say, workflow which is very basic and very normal for your business. Might not be needed for any other business. It is just very specific to you. I'll give you example, maybe a very tough workflow. Let me see if I have it. Yeah, let me give it a try. Okay, so I've written a very big command here on the workflow that I'm actually building an end-to-end reconciliation model. When I have received the payment, this is a problem when you have received so much payments and you're trying to figure out which invoice got paid, where is the bulk payment, how do I actually consider. It will pull the details from your ERP, from your accounting software. It will run a reconciliation based on the logic match, and then will also classify the payments, match, partially match, duplicates, all those considered. So this is completely the way you want your reconciliation to work. And once you have pasted the command, or you have just written in your language to say, the system will try to build the agent now for your reconciliation. This is basically the thing where you get bulk payments a lot, or end of the month, suddenly some vendors are just transferring the money and you are not sure, okay, is this month's payment or the last month's payment, or sometimes last quarter payment. So yeah, I think Fahim,
Yeah,
you want to.
we actually had a use case for this exact problem a few months ago. So yeah, it'd be good to see the actual automation, because we were talking about actually building it as a workflow ourselves. I think
Yeah,
this is
so
where it's headed. Like, I think, look, not
correct.
everyone has a a coding background, or not everyone has the background to actually go in and figure out the logic. Whereas when you have an agent that can go in and see what uh, the best workflow would be for that specific problem in the exact output that you need, it just makes everything so much more straightforward.
Correct, correct. And see, Fahim, I just mentioned transaction. So transaction can be invoice, bill, vendor. So it's actually asking me what kind of transaction are you saying? And then I gave the response, then it gave me the flow. And at the end, I can say, okay, looks good. It's obviously will verify and it will build the full workflow for you. And then obviously you can go ahead and say, okay, map fields, I have to consider which fields in the zero, which fields in the bank statements. You can further go and modify all these things. So that's the beauty of it. One good thing about happens is that we also have the feature where you can do vendor bills as well. So the idea here is that you can add the bill, which can easily come from your email ID over here, or you can just OCR any of the bills which are coming from the vendor. Just upload it over here, and then that can actually give you the idea that what is the bill coming in. So let's say I'll give it a try to maybe upload one of the bills, and I'll just show you that how does that work. The beauty of here, what Fahim, is that it is not even just OCR the bill. It can OCR any kind of handwritten bill also. And one thing which helps out is that it is actually going to auto assign the bill based on the description and the vendor. So you don't have to figure out, okay, what is the GL code when I'm punching this bill, and what is the tax GL code I have to consider. It will automatically understand the description, assign the GL code, keep the tax part separate, so you know that, okay, this is an invoice where I have to consider a tax separately. Let me show you how it shows up here. And once you see the full details of tax separately considered, everything properly considered, even the bank details of the vendor, everything is considered. And then you can start your own approval flow here, which you can actually have the access to it, or you can even create a task for someone else. Now, this, when done, automatically gets pushed into zero as well. So that gives the full flexibility for someone to not just have the collections of the invoices, which I was showing, but also make the payments to the vendors, depending on the key thing which I was saying on the dashboard, that how does your cash flow look like? When is the right time to pay the bill to vendors, and when is the right time to actually chase your customers to make sure that you are AP and AR both are managed in one go.
No, thank you for walking us through that. I think, you know, as simple as things like these are going to be to set up, as simple as you've made it, and it looks great as well. UI is amazing. I've used it myself, and I can say out of a lot of other AR focused platforms, it's very, very intuitive. You're always going to get people who kind of lag on changing things. The really good thing, and I guess hats off to you as well, about working with Octa is the level of support, because something like that workflow you've just showed us can look quite daunting for some people to do. And we always hear like, oh, AI is going to take over and I'm not going to have a job and so on. So if you're a credit controller at a business, you might look at this as something that's a threat to you. The good thing about Octa is that when you're onboarding, you really get empowered with all of the benefits that come as part of automating these things. And when you're actually setting up and transitioning from, whether you're doing it on another platform or you're not doing it at all, or you're managing it on a sheet, the actual benefit of moving over to this is that you free up all of your time, so you can actually spend your time doing things that actually matter. And you aren't the awkward person that's reaching out to people all the time and saying, look, this is how much money you owe me. Why is it not paid? Can we get paid? And like having those repetitive messages. And there's like a unified system that tells me how much money I'm owed and when I should expect to receive that money. So there's no kind of gray area. Look, I think with the platform, it looks amazing. As I said, I've seen the growth, I've seen it develop. What's next?
Definitely, Fahim. I think you rightly mentioned. I just wanted to double touch base the point you mentioned. I think customer support is really important because for some of the people, this is a new thing for them to use it and get accustomed and be confident that it is actually going to work as per the automation or as per the workflows they are building, right? That gives them the confidence. I think coming to the point on what's next, I think the idea is that how can we make this platform so easily available for the entire region that they can at least start exploring and building their own automation on top of it, so that the idea which you mentioned, right, their day-to-day activity shouldn't be like chasing the clients to just get money. They can start utilizing that time to strategically think on much more things to grow the business, to even refine their finance strategy. I think that will free up the time of where finance team is much more involved into it by using that system. So our idea is that how can we touch much more SMEs in the region to give them that freedom to utilize their time well.
Yeah, and I think just on that, I think even just past that personally, if you're a business owner and you're waiting to get paid, it can be quite it can be a very stressful thing. Like,
Yeah,
because as a especially as a growing business owner, you might have things that you need to pay and things that you need to do, staff. There's so many things that kind of hinge on the fact that your cash flow is healthy. So making sure that you've got a good process on your cash flow early on is very, very required, especially in the region, especially in like the level of growth that we've seen. Something like that is super, super necessary. Um,
definitely.
so with Octa, let's say if I'm a business owner, I send out 100 to 150 invoices on a monthly basis. Let's say half of them never get paid on time. How, like, if I choose to work with Octa, how long is it going to take me to get used to using Octa? And then how quickly after that can I expect to be paid?
So for him, I think for them to quickly use Octa, it's few minutes. They just have to come, connect their zero accounting software. Our customer support team will definitely help them to understand the process. But roughly 10 to 15 minutes, they'll be on live to start using the platform. I think how quickly can they see the result is where we usually say that give it a 3 to 4 week cycle, because you don't want to be suddenly using the platform and just bombarding people to do that. I think there's a process on how you also want to let system analyze which customers to be reached out when, what's the right channel to be done. I think that usually takes a 3 to 4 weeks process for them to start seeing the result out of it.
Okay, cool. And then I know, so like with the UAE, one of the key things that we found, so I'm from the UK, I'm in the UK at the moment, you might see BBC in the background.
Yeah.
Um, we have what's called like the direct debit guarantee scheme. It's an agreement basically between you and the business or business and another business, basically guaranteeing a payment date, and that payment amount might fluctuate up and down. But it's basically agreeing between you, the bank, and the business, or the whatever, whoever the other person is on the other end, that this money is going to get paid on this date from whatever account. It's not the same in the UAE. There isn't like the notion of having a direct debit. Like if you've lived in the UAE for any amount of time, you'll know that even things like your electric bill and your gas bill and stuff, you get messages on your phone and you can pay it on Apple Pay on a monthly basis. It's not done. It's not taken out of your account automatically. How does Octa address that? Because a lot of people are going to think, look, I can set my clients up. I know how much I'm going to charge them on a monthly basis. They just pay it late. And it's purely because I have to send them something. They have to go onto a different link every single month. And then they have to either input their card details or they have to pay it, which is just a whole, it's a whole mess to have to deal with every single month. So rather than doing that, is there a way that we can just collect the payment every single month, and not have to worry about chasing them?
Yeah, so Fahim, I think two quick things which have worked really well of customers who are using Octa, and it solves the problem what you are saying, is an auto debit feature. where if the client has paid once, their card is tokenized with us, and then the next month when you raise the invoice, it gives a reminder to the customer that their card will be auto charged on that day specifically. So even the customer has the visibility that they can auto debit their clients, and client also has the visibility that okay, this is the invoice raised, their card will be charged on a certain day. So both the parties are aware of it, but there's no friction of someone going adding card and then doing that, right? Getting the OTP and then figuring out okay, where's the CVV. So I think that just solves, because intention is there, it's just the hassle of going it adding the card and then doing that just goes away. So that is widely used with lot of B2B businesses now. Even if they have not enabled the auto debit feature, they have a one click payment where it's just a click. If they have paid last time, it will just ask them to authorize, yes, charge my last card, and it will just let them pay, so they don't have to remember the card and figure out who had the OTP at that point, right? So this thing has really worked in the region that where they have set up this auto debit or one click pay for businesses to actually get the payment easily.
Yeah, amazing. I think that is so useful in the UAE, especially if you've got like regular payments that you're collecting from your clients. It can be such a big problem for you to kind of handle yourself. So definitely having that in the system makes life so much easier. Just you mentioned something which I want to kind of highlight. So the good thing is that we have like we have tons of payment processors out there. There's Stripe, there's Paymob, there's tons, right? And Octa integrates with a lot, as it does with a lot of different accounting software. We've mentioned Zero, but even if you're like a Zoho customer, Wafi customer, whatever, we can get your invoices into Octa and make sure you get paid on time. And that's, I think, one of the things that is going to be very strong for Octa's growth going forward, because it's not a solution that only fits with certain tools. You can essentially or start with most of the platforms that you're using, which I definitely see a lot of potential in. So we've covered a lot. Thank you so much for taking us through the demo, talking to us about kind of why this is a relevant problem for UAE businesses, and to be honest, globally as well.
It's the same out there in the market. Yeah.
Going forward, look, we partner with you guys. We love the product. A lot of our clients use the product and are enjoying using it. So if anyone does want to get in touch and know more, learn more about Octa, see how you can make use of it, just shoot me a message. I will share my WhatsApp here. Just drop me a message, and yeah, we can start a conversation about how we get Octa as part of your processes. But thank you very much, Nupur, for taking the time out. And I'm excited to see where you guys end up next year. Hopefully, we can do this again and see where the products ended up.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Fahim, and looking forward to it. Yes, I think we'll have much more bigger problems to solve even few months down the line. So we'll love to have it again. Thank you so much.
Cheers, Nupur.
Okay, thanks. Bye. Thanks, everyone. Thanks.